Hello everyone, welcome to StudyMate. This is English and we're focusing on figurative language and we're going to look at the metaphor. Let's start with figurative language. Figurative language is used when meaning is suggested to the imagination, perhaps through a picture or a comparison. Figurative language varies. It's different from ordinary speech. It makes language spoken or written more vivid, that's more alive, more interesting, and more forceful. What about figures of speech? Figures of speech are techniques a writer uses to make the writing more interesting. And the most common figures of speech are the simile and the metaphor. So we've said that figurative language is not literal. You're not stating exactly what you mean. You're appealing to the imagination. You're saying something more. And we often use figures of speech, and the most common are the simile and the metaphor. What is a metaphor? A metaphor is a figure of speech where one thing is described as if it were something else. You can also get the phrase a sustained or extended metaphor. A sustained or extended metaphor is a metaphor that goes on over a few lines. We can use the word metaphorical, we can use the word figurative. So they're basically synonyms. Language is figurative, it's metaphorical, it's not literal, it's stating something more than the actual meanings of the words. I've said there that this language has a meaning beyond the literal. Right, let's just try to put this together by using an example. I always know when you've had a good day, your voice is a happy song. So you say to yourself, what figure of speech? It's a metaphor. In a metaphor, one thing is described as something else. What is being described as what? A voice is being described as a happy song. What do you then do? Your next step is to talk about a happy song. We associate it with joy and being light-hearted and feeling good and having no problems. Then you relate it back to voice. If your voice is a happy song, what are you saying about the person's voice? You're saying that the person has a light voice, that it sounds happy, that it brings joy to people, that people enjoy listening to that voice. Those are the ideas that you link to the metaphor of the happy song. Now, how do you write this up? Begin. In this metaphor, the person's voice is described as a happy song. That's the first step. A happy song expresses feelings of joy and pleasure. The sound is light and quick. That's step 2. You talk about the happy song. In the same way, the person's voice is light and quick, showing the person feels happy and joyous. So what are your steps when you discuss a metaphor? You start by saying, in this metaphor, comma. You then say what is being described, the person's voice. You then say what it is being described as, a happy song. Then you describe the metaphor, the happy song. And then you go back and say, what does that metaphor tell you about the thing that you're trying to describe? You need to practice that. It's not an easy skill, but you will get better at it if you practice it. In our next segment, we're going to continue looking at reading and viewing.